Let's bring in our senior Washington correspondent, Dan Raviv. And Dan, there are indications that former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn is now trying to cut an immunity deal with the congressional committees and the FBI. Fair to assume that Congress will defer to the FBI on that?
Well, that would be the usual thing. Both the House Intelligence Committee, which is doing pretty much nothing because of the partisan divisions there, and the Senate Intelligence Committee, which is very active right now, and as you report, has begun its public hearings. Both of them would first check with the FBI. Are you thinking of prosecuting this person? Because then congressional investigators would tread very carefully. Now, again, the Wall Street Journal report is that General Michael Flynn, who had the job of National Security Advisor in the Trump White House for just 3.5 weeks, then had to quit because he didn't tell the full truth to Vice President Pence about his contacts with Russia. He is willing to testify to the congressional committees and cooperate with the FBI in exchange for immunity from prosecution. Now, Flynn's lawyer is not denying that. He's issued a statement just in the past hour or so that says Flynn certainly has a story to tell, and he wants to tell it, wants to give information, but no reasonable person would submit to questioning without assurances against unfair prosecution. So far, no deal. The Wall Street Journal says the offer was made but hasn't yet been taken up. I am thinking the investigators are pursuing different paths and aren't in a rush, not at this point, to offer immunity.
Dan, the Senate committee's bipartisanship seems to stem from Senator Warner of Virginia and Senator Burr of North Carolina, the ranking members. Does it extend beyond them to other members of the committee?
Pretty much so. I mean, in the hearing today, in which experts on Russian intelligence techniques were being questioned, it was as though both Democrats and Republicans didn't consider each other the enemies, but Russia. So that's really what the tone has been from the start of the Senate investigation. Another Republican, Marco Rubio, in fact, he offered evidence. He wasn't testifying. He's a member of the committee, but he mentioned that his presidential campaign had been hacked by Russians. This week, Russian hackers tried to get into some of his staff's computers. So Rubio was strong on that. And I'm struck by a Democrat who is often very strong on the liberal side, Ron Wyden of Oregon. He was a little bit out of step, not quite so bipartisan. He said a lot of truth could be learned if Donald Trump would release his tax returns.
Dan Raviv in Washington. Dan, thank you. Coming up in